Even before the first rays of sunlight emerged from the distant horizon on the morning of the 9th of August 1945, the flight deck of HMS Formidable was alive with activity as men and machines prepared to commence the day's flying routine against the Japanese home islands. An illustrious class aircraft carrier, Formidable was a veteran warship having conducted a myriad of operations against the Italians, Germans, Vichy French, and now the Japanese in 4 different theatres of the war. Formidable's combat debut occurred some 4.5 years earlier in February 1941, when its aircraft carried out a strike against Axis shipping in Italian-controlled Massawa, resulting in the destruction of the 5,723-ton Italian merchant ship Moncalieri. 1 month later, Formidable participated in the Battle of Cape Matapan, where its aircraft damaged Italian warships, thus directly leading to a night surface engagement that resulted in the destruction of 3 Italian heavy cruisers and 2 destroyers for no British loss. Still, Formidable's fortunes were not always positive, and in May 1941 it suffered heavy damage from German bombing while supporting operations off Crete. This would not be the last time Formidable sustained damage, but thanks to its stout construction and armoured flight deck, the venerable warship was always able to carry on. Some highlights of its subsequent service included participation in the invasions of North Africa, Sicily and Salerno, launching airstrikes against German shipping off Norway, operations against the Japanese at Sakishima Gunto in support of the invasion of Okinawa, and now its current actions against Japan itself. Accompanying Formidable in this current endeavour, the carrier strikes against Japan, were 3 other British aircraft carriers, Victorious, Indefatigable, and Implacable. Like Formidable, Victorious was an illustrious class aircraft carrier, whereas the other 2 were of similar design but had greater hangar capacity, thus giving them the ability to operate more aircraft. Also, like Formidable, all 3 aircraft carriers were veterans in their own right, having engaged in considerable previous combat. In terms of Victorious and Indefatigable, this included recent service with Formidable off Okinawa, where all 3 ships had endured the kamikaze onslaught and still carried the scars from previous kamikaze hits. Implacable had arrived in the theatre too late to participate in this action, and other than a training strike against the isolated Japanese naval base at Truk, was now on its first series of operations against the Japanese. Still, if Implacable lacked recent participation in the Pacific War, it was no stranger to combat. In the closing months of 1944, Implacable had conducted a series of attacks against German shipping off Norway, resulting in the destruction of a fleet minesweeper and 7 merchant ships, auxiliary vessels, worth 12,927 tons, and damage to a further 11 vessels, worth 13,800 tons. Also during these strikes, Implacable's aircraft severely damaged and forced the grounding of a German U-boat, U-1060, which was subsequently destroyed by the Royal Air Force.